Welcome to Teyvat Historia. In this video I'm going to cover all the details and other references I noticed from Genshin Impact version 2.2's Labyrinth Warriors event Questline. But first, I'm currently striving to reach 100,000 subscribers. If you're a returning viewer, or if you're new to the channel, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to help the channel reach 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2021. Now, on to the video. Starting things off, we found Xinyan dealing with possible deportation from Inazuma as a result of the Tenryu Commission being short-handed. Their lack of manning was likely because of the combination of the newly found domain the questline is designed around, but also it is likely that the Tenryu Commission is still dealing with high turnover in their ranks, after their reputation in Inazuma was badly damaged as a direct result of their collusion with the Fatui during the time of the Vision Hunt Decree. This is why Kujo-Sara was largely uninvolved with the events regarding the Mystic Onmyodo Chamber, as she's afraid to leave the Tenryu Commission without effective oversight. Xinyan arrived in the Nation of Eternity after her organizers arranged for her to play a concert there, bringing rock and roll to the shores of Inazuma. This is part of her ongoing personal mission to spread Teyvat's new musical genre, which originated in Fontaine to the far corners of Teyvat. While discussing the problems she's faced since arriving, Xinyan mentioned that her organizers couldn't make it to Inazuma because of trouble on the seas. This may be an indication that despite resolution of the Vision Hunt Decree, the storms may still exist between Inazuma and the mainland of Teyvat. Might be worth it to check and see if the barrier still exists. Alright, starting from Liyue, let's go. Okay, this isn't going too bad. Oh god, how long is this going to take? I totally didn't cut out the times where I failed and fell in the water at all. Uh-oh. Things aren't looking so good. Oh god. Oh, it's starting to rain. That's probably not good. It's definitely storming. I don't think I'm gonna make it. Maybe? Am I still going? Oh, look, maybe. Still? Kujo-Sara said the domain appeared suddenly, but much as I've tried, I've not been able to determine a definitive reason as to what caused said appearance. Shiki Taisho explains it to be as a result of the influence of an unknown power. Going forward, we're able to rule out Childe's involvement, as by his own admission, he had simply responded to the domain's appearance. That said, Childe's presence in Inazuma is revealed late in the quest to be as a result of Scaramouche's treachery. It is then possible that the Balladeer is responsible for this domain's initial appearance, but for what purpose as of this time is uncertain. Xinyan describes Shiki Taisho before he awakens, and Paimon compares it to sigil and adepti stuff they have over in Liyue. Paimon is speaking directly with reference to the adepti created sigils of permission, which the traveler used during the Liyue Archon questline to ensure safe passage through Jueon Karst, and it's also what Childe used to summon the Lord of the Vortex, Ossile. During Xinyan's song, Shiki Taisho saw images of grilling fish with people whose faces he couldn't quite make out. This was a simple moment of foreshadowing that he would do exactly that during the out-of-game event, Yummy Barbecue Beneath the Stars, with Paimon, Childe, Xinyan, and the Traveler. Paimon covers for Childe's actions in Liyue in order to prevent Xinyan from discovering exactly who he really is, in an effort to prevent unneeded conflict between the musician from Liyue and the Harbinger. Although Paimon's implementation does paint a picture of Childe as accident-prone instead of the competent fighter that he is. This was likely a decision made by the writers to explain why Xinyan would not spend the questline distrusting Childe and looking over her shoulder, as he was knowingly directly responsible for Ossile's attempt on Liyue. By the end of the questline, the truth of Childe's identity still appears not to have been revealed to Xinyan, as such, leaving this potential discovery on the table for a meaningful conflict between the two characters later, if Xinyan and Childe indeed remain in the Lands of Eternity after the event's conclusion. When you first arrive inside the mystic Onmyodo chamber, Shiki Taisho mentions that there are 4 great spirits and 3 spokes in the Mitsudomo. The Mitsudomo and its 3 spokes refers to this figure, which is very similar to the figure used to represent the electro element. This figure is displayed multiple times throughout designs of Inazuma, as well as on the Raiden Shogun herself, and its inspiration is taken from its popular and varied usage throughout the history of Japan. Throughout the questline, Shiki Taisho makes several mentions of the Onmyodo, which is a real-world concept known as the Way of Yin and Yang.
This is the way.
Practitioners of Onmyodo were known as Onmyoji, and were said to have the ability to summon and control Shikigami, which is of course what Shiki Taisho is, suggesting that Harunasuke was based on the concept of the Onmyoji, and in fact later, it was revealed that Kamuna Harunasuke's title was the first Onmyoji of Inazuma. Several times during the quest, our traveler, Xinyan, and Paimon are tossed from the domain while it rearranges itself. Childe, however, is not thrown out and is left behind to battle the monsters in the domain, alone for several days in each occurrence. Shiki Taisho later relates the reason for this to Childe's, quote, incredible aura. This is likely speaking of the fact that Childe spent much time, as he describes it, fighting in the fissures that lie between great tree roots, suggesting the energies Childe calls upon to bring forth the Foul Legacy transformation offer him some form of protection from the will of the domain itself. A main concern for Xinyan was to ensure that Shiki Taisho was allowed to recover all of his memories, for fear that he would be misunderstood without them. This is because Xinyan has spent a good amount of time in her life misunderstood herself, often being judged simply by her appearance. This has been known to even cause children to run from her. Shiki Taisho at one point talks about the Supreme Commander of the Tenryu Commission, stating that he was a man called Kujo something, but could not remember his name, going on to say that Harunasuke played chess with him. We don't currently have a great record of the past living Kujo clan members other than Shigeyori Kujo, who is said to have built the Battlefront Fortress in one night, and facing off bravely against the dark forces of the Cataclysm. Given the high probability that Harunasuke developed the mystic Onmyodo chamber to train samurai to aid in the protection of Inazuma from the dark beasts of sin present during that era, before A at last purged them all herself,
Fine, I'll do it myself.
it may be possible that the man Shiki Taisho was talking about was intuitively Shigeyori Kujo, as he is indeed the namesake of the Kujo clan, and would be the obvious choice to become the supreme commander of the Tenryu Commission, given his contribution to the war efforts. When Xinyan plays her song near the start of the questline for Shiki Taisho, the reason it appears to resonate with him likely is due to the song he remembers later, which was a ballad passed through the ages. Shiki Taisho was created by Harunasuke to understand and experience human emotions, and as such, this now ancient song resonated deeply with him in those times, thus allowing him to pass Xinyan's test of character early on. Shiki Taisho says Inazuma was attacked by a great evil, which is by all probability a reference to the era of Cataclysm. With that said, during Shiki Taisho's flashback memory of Harunasuke, he says that he wanted to aid her descendants. Afterwards, Shiki Taisho proclaims that she's not coming back. While we cannot be absolutely certain who this is referencing at this time, initially, I thought due to Harunasuke's statement that he wanted to help her descendants, that he was talking about the Oni Chiyo, whose clan was already dwindling by the time she became corrupted and betrayed the shogun. But it is much more likely that this is hinting at Kitsune Saigu, the former Grand Priestess of the Narukami Shrine. While somewhat speculative, there are references to a group which include a Kanjo, a Shrine Maiden, and an easygoing man, the latter of which has a description matching that of Kamuna Harunasuke with regard to traveling away from Inazuma following the disappearance of Kitsune Saigu. This fits with Harunasuke's own travels to Liyue, in which he learned the adeptal arts which resulted in his transcendence towards the end of the quest. Speaking of the adeptal arts that Kamuna Harunasuke learned, it is interesting to note here that Paimon raises the question that these abilities may have made him immortal. This may be taken to mean that the adepti of Liyue may have not always been immortal beings either, but rather it was a learned trait which after its attainment passed down throughout their lineage, as characters such as Ganyu, who are only half adeptus, are still counted among the seemingly ageless and immortal. Late in the quest, Shiki Taisho says the domain may exhaust itself, but he will let it lay dormant to refresh itself. This offers a canon explanation as to why the domain will disappear at the end of the event, and provides further reason for its probable return for future events. The final detail of this video I want to point out is the thoughts of Shiki Taisho. If you explored the menu for the event diligently, you might have discovered that with the completion of each of the 5 stages of the Mystic Onmyodo Chamber, parts of Shiki Taisho's memories, which were not discussed in the story itself, were detailed here in a sort of journal. There he works through his memories, and further details his relationship with Harunosuke. In case you missed these, I've recorded them and placed them on screen here so that you can pause the video and read them at your own pace. And that's it for the details and references I noticed from Genshin Impact's 2.2 Labyrinth Warriors event. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so that you are notified when my next video goes live. Additionally, I am now streaming most weekday evenings on Twitch, and often spend much of those streams discussing lore details and sharing my take on many of Genshin Impact's story threads. A link to my Twitch channel has been provided in the description. Thanks for watching Teyvat Historia. May the 7 guide you, travelers.